Hey, all you comic book readers and true believers, it's Tuesday, and I'm your friendly neighborhood comic guy, Mitch Harmon. You guys know what's up. Mitch's Picks. For Marvel Comics, Strike Force, #1, written by Tini Howard, art done by Jermaine Peralta. An infectious disease, the CDC area has been broken into, and a bunch of Ebola and just a bunch of awful diseases have gone missing. And the Avengers have been called in to try to figure out who exactly or what exactly has been going on. And to much of the Avengers' surprise, they run into a lot of their closest friends, such as Spider-Woman, such as Spectrum, such as Bucky, such as there is I think the other one was Wiccan. They're just wondering what's going on, but even those heroes can't exactly explain why they're inside the CDC facility and what they're exactly doing. That is until Blade shows up and kind of gives them a little bit of a history about some types of changelings or shapeshifters that have been in the past kidnapping people and then almost kind of wiping their minds. But exactly why are these shapeshifters targeting these heroes? Not entirely clear on that just yet. That is until they find out. Angela realizes these are actually Fae from Svartalfheim. I can't even say it's one of the 9 realms, and that she needs to go and speak to their king himself about exactly what's going on here. This is a new this is a new ongoing series written by Tini Howard. Really cool art done by Jermaine Peralta as well. If you're into like this kind of more of secret society or super spy type of story, this is definitely it. It's kind of like the X-Force for the Avengers, at least that's what it's being led to believe. Plus, it's got really cool characters. Blade is awesome as always. So if you guys are interested in any of that, I highly recommend it. Check it out. From Vault Comics, The Plot, #1, written by Tim Daniel and Michael Morrissey, art done by Joshua Hickson. The Blaine house has been around, it's been in their family for generations, almost 200 years actually. But Charles Blaine has been talking about how his family, especially his father, was always in a giving situation. It was almost like an unburdening for him, if you will. Going the distance just to try to give to people. But also seemingly to be trying to make up for something in the case as well. Not entirely clear. He's very vague about when he's talking about it in front of this group of people, but it is for sure that his father was perplexed, ill is what he said, but yet he was still a very giving individual. But Charles Blaine seems troubled by this, but he kind of puts it away and goes home with his wife and tries to enjoy the night until some creature just comes out of the shadows and kills both of him and his wife. Cut to his younger brother, Chase Blaine, who really doesn't have that type of a life, the family life or anything. He's really kind of boiled down to just working, I guess you could say. But now he's got to take on the guardianship of for his niece and his nephew, the children left behind after Charles's passing. And he thinks of no better place than to go back to the family plot and try to raise these children here. Better than a studio apartment is what he says. But there's a lot of suspicion around this family in this small town. Some of the sheriff doesn't want them back in town, and there just seems to be a lot of turmoil that surrounds this family. This is a new series coming out of Vault Comics. Definitely has a very spooky feel to it. Some type of superstitious, some type of supernatural, I guess you could say, event going on in this. Definitely a horror story. Plus, also the cover B. I don't have one on me, but it is a House of Secrets, whatever the first appearance of Swamp Thing is. It is an homage to that. So if you just want to get that cool cover, but this still is shaping out to be a pretty cool kind of horror story, I guess. If you are into that type of stuff, I highly recommend it, guys. Check it out. For Marvel Comics, Wolverine, Annual #1, written by Jody Houser, art done by Geraldo Borges. This is just a kind of a one-shot. If you guys have been following this Acts of Evil stuff, just much like Moon Knight and She-Hulk previous to this, this doesn't really have an ongoing series, but this is considered to be the annual. But all this is the Acts of Evil tie-in stuff, which has mostly been a series of like one-shots and whatnot, but this does continue on the story of all these villains interacting with our heroes and whatnot. And this is no different. This book actually takes place in 1930, or the majority of it, I should say, takes place in 1938 when Wolverine is fallen in love with a redhead and has followed her all the way to the West Coast to help her get her burgeoning actress career off the ground. That is until she starts to leave him, doesn't really find him as interesting. Whatever the reason is, she tries to distance herself from Wolverine. and Wolverine has to, I guess, just kind of live that life now. That is until he starts to see Morgan Le Fay start to show up, and now he feels almost responsible to try to free this little area, I guess you could say, of Hollywood from Morgan Le Fay's power, her grasp on all of this. This is just a kind of a standalone story. This does dive into Wolverine's past, but not really as anything you need to read previously or after this. So if you're just looking for a nice little fun Wolverine story, this is definitely it. Or if you're just following the Acts of Evil storyline, you definitely don't want to miss this one, guys. Check it out. From Image Comics, White Trees, #2, written by Chip Zdarsky, art done by Chris Anka. This is the conclusion to the White Trees story. Hopefully we will get some more Black Sand or White Trees type of stories coming out of this, but for as far as this story of the White Trees, Krylos' journey to looking for his son, and one of his companions' daughters, this is the conclusion to it. But it doesn't quite have the ending that you may be expecting. Everyone always expects this happy ending or something that is just kind of being able to tell how it's going to end. But this is a little bit of a different story. Krylos and his companions actually break into this castle where they are almost for sure their children are being held. But along the way of trying to find out where his children are, Krylos learns a secret, a very dark secret about his own homeland, about what they have done in times of war. Krylos is already kind of a broken man anyways, kind of jaded by the effects of politics and war and all this. But this does spark a new fervor in him, so much so that he's willing to even draw his sword, which is something that he just kind of completely gave up last time around. This is a completed series, only 2 issues. If you guys missed the #1, we do have second printings in right now. Still, I believe, done by Chris Anka. But yeah, if you guys are looking for the story, we have the complete story here. If you already picked up #1, we do have quite a few second prints. I'm sorry, quite a few first prints of the #2. But if you didn't, we got the second prints of the #1. But yeah, Chris Anka's art is amazing. Chip Zdarsky is a wonderful writer. I highly recommend it, guys. Check it out. From DC Comics is Black Label, Harleen, #1, written and drawn by Stefan Sejic. This is a new Black Label series, much like the Batman Damned and also Superman Year One. These are going to be magazine size and only going to be 3 issues. This deals with basically Harley Quinn's origin story. This starts her basically at her kind of coming into Arkham Asylum. Actually, it starts her with her job she had before Arkham Asylum, but within this issue, she kind of works her way into there. But you can start to see that there's actually more of a connection between Harley and Joker than just that one fateful moment when she started becoming his shrink. There's actually been a little bit of a history there. Well, not so much, but there's been an instance they met up before, and Harley has almost had these premonition dreams about a man who's smiling with rows and rows of teeth, always invading her nightmares and fighting against this giant bat monster and so on and so forth. A lot of foreshadowing going on there. This is all done, like I said, by Stefan Sejic. The guy is a wonderful artist and a good writer. It just takes forever because he has to do everything, I guess, together. But this is a great origin story. For those of you who do not know Harley Quinn's origin story, this is also just a great read in general because Harley Quinn she kind of gets her foot in Arkham Asylum because she has found out that most of these serial killers are actually just lack empathy, and she's trying to gain funding for this and possibly help bring it into the crime of Gotham City. You also see a lot of other people in this. Lucius Fox is in this. Harvey Dent, not quite Two-Face just yet. But of course you see other villains of Arkham inmates, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Mad Hatter, so on and so forth. Like I said, this is an oversized issue, so it's $7.99, a little bit more expensive. But if you're just a Harley Quinn fan or you just want to learn more about her origin story, this is definitely one to pick up, guys. Check it out. That's all my picks for this week, everyone. Don't forget, this Saturday, the 28th, I believe, we are having a Mortal Kombat tournament here in the store. It starts at 5:30, and it's $5 to get in, but we will be giving out prizes to the top 3 people, I believe. So if you guys got any skills or whatnot, come on down. We're going to be having a little tournament in the back on this Saturday at 5:30. So like I said, that's all my picks for this week, everyone. Keep reading your comics, true believers. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.